Hello everybody. I just want to go over my 3 conventional reels I got here and whether or not you need one, and if you do, which one do you need. So the 3 reels and rods I have here is I have a Penn Warfare 30, a Warfare size 30 open face with a Daiwa Wilderness trolling rod. This is my newest reel and my oldest rod. It's a pretty good rod. I've taken it to saltwater a fair bit, freshwater a fair bit. It's seen quite a lot of use. It's seen misuse. But the rod overall, I'd recommend it. It's pretty good. It doesn't have a recommended casting weight, but I'd say the maximum you should be throwing is about 3 to 4 ounces. 5 ounces, I've done it before. It's just not the best feeling. But yeah. The reel is my newest. I just got this in, and it's a Penn Warfare 30, like I said. Got a nice loud clicker on there. It's got there's no auto retrieve, so you have to physically click it, which I do like, so I don't accidentally bump the handle and set it into retrieve mode. The spool tensioning knob's quite nice. It's a fairly nice reel. Although one thing I have seen reviews about is apparently the reel foot right there, that can sometimes pop loose. Although for mine personally, I see that it's like a rivet or something this time around. I don't know if they had a redesign or if I just can't see it, but yeah. It's got 15 pounds of drag, and it's got a 5:1:1 reel gear ratio, and 34 inches of line approximately per handle turn. I've got on there 30-pound mono backing and 30-pound mono top shot. The 30-pound monos, there's about 200 to 150 yards of there, and mainly 50-pound Daiwa J braid. So we got 30-pound mono, 50-pound braid. It's a relatively cheap outfit. The reel costed me about 100 USD or 130 CAD. The rod costed me 30 CAD, so you can probably pick it up at your in the US for like 15 bucks. It's a real nice reel. It's real nice rod, pretty stout, and the reel seems decent. Alternatively, if you don't want the new one because you're a bit iffy about it, you can always pick up an old Jig Master. They have the same amount of drag and they're pretty much identical. This one's just newer and upgraded, I believe. Although you can probably argue with me in the comments. Here is my biggest reel. This is a size 55 Okuma convector, and it's got a line guide. And only 2 of these reels have a rod clamp, this one and the Penn. This one has, I believe, 20 or 25 pounds of max drag. And this one, I think, has a slightly higher gear ratio, bringing in slightly more line per handle turn. I'm not sure the exact amount. I think it's somewhere around 40 inches per handle turn. And I have this on a Striper Stealth rod. It's a pretty nice rod, steel line guides, unlike this one's graphite line guides. This is a real nice rod, aluminum reel seat, and double thread, so you can really clamp down the reel, and then it being aluminum, you don't have to worry about accidentally crushing it with the reel clamp. As for the convector, it's got 2 lugs on the top for your fighting harness, and the rod itself has a little butt for a fighting harness too. This one's a 1-piece rod, 7'6". It is a pretty nice reel. I do enjoy it. This one does also not have an auto retrieve. You also got to click it up, which again I enjoy. A nice big metal reel, or a nice big metal star drag. It does make a nice loud click. The power handle's oversized, and I have on there about 800 to around 800 yards of 80-pound braid. It's either 800 or 1,000, somewhere around there. Actually, somewhere around 800 yards. Maybe it's 500. I'm not just forgetful. But yeah, 80-pound braid. This is my bigger fish setup. Okay, yeah, it's definitely about 1,000 yards. And And then this is my smallest, or middle of the pack setup. This is a Bass Pro Shops Deathmaster 45. It's got a 4 ball bearing as opposed to the convector's 3, a 4:5 to 1 gear ratio, and this one does have an auto retrieve and a line counter. I have on here just straight 30-pound mono. That's what they had in the store, and it was the cheapest, so I just decided to get that. It will cover most of what I'm doing. The rod is was 6 feet long. Now it's more like 5'9". So it used to be 6'6". The rod tip snapped, so maybe not the highest quality rod, but after the rod tip snapped, I did some bend tests on it, and it bended pretty well. Hasn't snapped. All of these rods had a hook keep in them. I put some piping around this one after I split it to protect it from the rails. But yeah, unlike the convector, this one has a graphite line guide. Again, line counter. This thing only has about 15 to 20 pounds of drag, I believe. And it's definitely the cheapest rod and reel setup here. I think in total this costed, the reel costs like 80 bucks and the rod costs 20 to 30 bucks. And I bought it as a combo and it came out to about 110, 120 bucks. Again, it's not, a lot of people say that the old Deathmaster was better. I never bought the old one. This is the one I have. I think it's a mighty fine rod and reel, if you can look past the fact that the tips always break on these. Other than that, I think it's a pretty decent rod and reel. Okay, so which one do you need? It's probably why you're here. It depends on what you're fishing for. And these reels have a big overlap area because they're fairly similar size ranges. Because this one's open face, they do also sell a level line version of this, the Penn, but I bought the open face because I wanted that. But they have quite the overlap in area. They can all serve generally the same purpose. You can catch tarpon on these. You can catch kingfish on these if you want to. It really depends on what you're doing. The rods are where they differentiate, so trolling rod, they're all trolling rods, but this one is pretty good at casting. For heavier weights, I prefer the Striper Stealth, and for smaller tasks, I prefer this guy, because he's short, and yeah. But I think where they each have an area where they excel in. The Warfare 30 is definitely best for casting from the beach for something like bull reds, black drum, and smaller sharks. If you're willing to paddle baits out, something like a convector can be like an entry-level big shark fishing reel, so like up to, I think, I can safely say you can catch up to an 8-foot shark on this. I wouldn't go up to, I would only stay up to 5 feet-ish on the Penn. And for this guy, I'd say he's closer, shark's a bit smaller than the Penn just because I'm not sure about the drag system in this guy. But yeah, and he's got 30 pound line. But yeah, they've got a fair bit of overlap again. The main difference is how much drag they have and how much line they each have on them. Castability, the level lines are the worst. Penn is really good. And again, it depends on what you're fishing for. Look into what you're fishing for. If I'm fishing for something like sheep's head, then I might go with this or the Penn. If I'm really dropping down, or black sea bass. If I'm fishing for cudas, kingfish, sharks, the Penn and the convector. And if I'm fishing for muskie here in Ontario, I might go with the convector and this Deathmaster because they've got a line guide. But it depends on what you're doing, and it depends on how you're fishing and what you're fishing for. So I look into locally what you need. Just remember, 30 lowest amount of line, 55 highest amount of line, 45 middle of the pack. If you're unsure and you don't know which one you need, stick to the current reel you have if it's serving your purpose. If it's not serving your purpose and you need something larger, 45 is probably a good size to start off. Maybe you get the convector, maybe you get the Deathmaster. If you're just looking for something cheap, conventional, that holds a lot of line and you can use for some of the larger-ish game fish, not quite not quite kingfish or monster shark levels, but more entry-level game fish like smaller sharks, schoolie-sized kingfish, and smaller reds and black drum, then this might be your best bet. And it can also handle the larger fish that you want to throw at it. Again, it depends on what you need. If you need something you can click a fighting harness into, something like the convector, or maybe you go with a squall, if that doesn't matter to you at all, something like this or the Penn. It also depends a lot on your price point. If you're willing to spend more than like $250, this was about $300 combo. The convector might be your best bet if you don't care about castability. Something like this is definitely the most budget friendly, and they actually do make this in a wide variety of sizes. But yeah, that's why I wanted to make this video. See ya.